Hello, hello. Let's all sit here. Hello, everyone. Good morning. How's everyone? All right. Do we have any BFF holders in the audience? Yes. Look at those hands. All right. That'll be the energy that we need. My name is Caroline Fairchild. I'm editor-in-chief at BFF, where I get to lead content and community for this incredible team. For those who don't know, BFF is an open access community where we're working to empower, educate, and get women and non-binary people invested into Web3. And we have an incredible panel for you, and we're going to jump right in because we only have 15 minutes. But quickly, I want to introduce the panelists that we have. We have Riley Blackwell, who's our community inclusion manager, Christine Theriot, who is on our partnerships team, and then we have Sheila Marcelo, who's one of our founding BFFs, as well as the CEO of Proof of Learn, which is a Web3 education platform. We're going to unpack all of that. So let's just start with Christine, where the name of the game and what we're talking about today is how we can build more inclusive partnerships and communities in Web3. It's bread and butter of what we do here at BFF, so we hope to tell you guys a little bit about that. So Christine, let's just start with where it all began. The BFF friendship bracelets in January, that was our first NFT drop. Talk to us a little bit about the inception of that. I wasn't on the team yet, so you can bring me under the hood a little bit too, and how we thought about that really with inclusion, accessibility, diversity in mind from the start.
So I'm sure everyone in their life, especially as you get more invested with your time into Web3, you have people that are asking you, what's going on with Web3? How do I get involved? In what capacity? And I think BFF really created a thoughtful experience with the YouTube series and having a kickoff event that sort of went over the 101 of crypto and NFTs and, cover diversity and inclusion within the space and sort of allowing people to feel a little bit more comfortable. And it also allowed that point of accessibility by providing that free NFT for people. And we set up thousands of wallets at the beginning at that point. And it was an incredible experience. And in real time, as that event was happening, which I don't know how many of you knew this, but the whole crew during that moment was in real time performing this on YouTube. And we were getting all of these messages about how this is the community that is sorely needed because people needed a place that they could feel like themselves, that they could learn comfortably and connect with other people within the community and do it at their own pace. And so at the beginning, when it came to partnerships, it was so important that we thought from a thoughtful lens. And that meant aligning with other communities that shared our mission and values. That meant ensuring that we were partnering with communities that have leaders that are people of color. That meant ensuring that we were having all of the communities that put a focus on LGBTQIA communities. Like, these were tenets of our foundation because we wanted to make sure not only did we provide that resource for education and connectivity, but we did it in a place that was judgment-free and where everyone felt that they can come, belong, and be themselves. So partnerships in that lens and the diversity element was so crucial from the beginning because that's how we wanted our community to be, and that's how we see ourselves ultimately as a brand and a company.
And Riley, as one of the leaders on our community management team, how did you hear about BFF? How did you get involved, and what were some early signs to you that it was, not just using words like accessibility, diversity, and inclusion, but was really building with those pillars in mind?
So I heard about the BFF live event from someone in my community online. And when I was watching the live event, I felt this spark in Web3 that was really special. A spark online that I haven't felt before, and it was really important to me that I get involved. I felt that there was a need for diverse thoughts and diverse people in the space. I felt that this space as a whole really needed people that look and feel and move throughout the world differently. And I've felt that ever since. I felt the need for people that look like me and talk like me to be recognized and to be represented in the space, because representation does matter, and it will always matter. I think seeing people in the space like me has been helpful for not just the BFF community, but for Web3 as a whole.
Absolutely. And I want to get into some of the efforts as a community that we're doing to cultivate, and you specifically that you're doing to cultivate more diverse voices. But Sheila, let's bring you into the conversation. Sheila and I go way back. We worked together in the Web 2 days as well. I want to know, first off, what attracted you to BFF and becoming one of our incredible founding BFFs. But as you think about this topic of DE&I and your own career journey from Web 2 to Web 3, how have the issues changed? How has the work changed? What inspires you about the work that we're doing now in this space?
One of the key words, Caroline, thanks for having me. We would go way back. But when I was founder of Care.com, one of the words that Riley used that really hits home in my heart is spark. We had sold Care.com February 2020. I had taken a year off on sabbatical, and then I decided to be a venture partner at a firm called New Enterprise Associates. And we were starting to also invest not only personally in crypto, my husband and I, but professionally, because we now had time off. It was in the midst of the pandemic. But a spark hit me because I was doing due diligence on a company on a play-to-earn model. And I watched this documentary, and it was a grandmother in the rural provinces of the Philippines, Lola Vergi, and she was 65 years old, and she had downloaded a crypto wallet, purchased Ethereum, and was playing this game. So here I was thinking, I'm pretty highly educated. I was trying to onboard into crypto, and it was very difficult. The user experience was broken, but yet my background was really mass market user experiences to provide, solutions around social impact, which we did at Care.com. So that spark came to me. It's exactly what Riley said, whether that's the live event at BFF, right? And then what Christine emphasized was this sense of community that suddenly my background around experiences, bringing people together, especially to support people, like women for Care.com, right?
Sure.
And then I decided, education. How do we provide global access to education using the power of blockchain? And so I came out of sabbatical and started a new company called Proof of Learn, leveraging blockchain for meritocracy, transparency, and credentialing. We've launched a project called metacrafters.io. And it was around the same time Britt and Jamie had gotten together. We were on a napkin brainstorming, how do we bring more women? Because I've been in Web 1, Web 2, and now moving to Web 3 as an operator entrepreneur, how do we bring more women? Because it's exactly, Gina Davis is a friend. She says, if you can see her, be her, right? Whatever diverse group that we need represented, the more that we can create these role models.
Right.
I think it's super important.
Yeah, I think, and me personally, as a journalist, I covered so many legacy industries in Web 2 and Web 1 where the numbers were just not moving. And I saw this opportunity with Web 3 to really start at the ground floor and make it inclusive from the beginning. Thank you, Sheila. That's
We're
great.
lucky to have you.
We're lucky to have you.
You tell me your Web 2 to Web 3.
Oh gosh, I don't want to monopolize time with that. But yes, I was at LinkedIn for several years. I don't think there's anything more Web 2 than LinkedIn. And now I've thrusted myself into the Web 3 space and couldn't be happier. But yeah, there's so much work to be done, which is exciting. I want to talk about the work, Christine and Riley, and I'm going to have you guys maybe even play off each other a little bit, if I can ask that. Let's talk about how the community and the partnerships come together in real life with some of the activations that BFF does. So let's pick something, and maybe Christine, you can kick us off, and then Riley, you can chime in with how the community comes in to really think more inclusively around how we're building and making the space more accepting.
There's so many different cases, but the one that I think that comes to mind the most is we recently launched something called Perkshop, which I think is really interesting and innovative, which sort of allows us to create a type of utility for our holders where they can go into an actual interface, look at their PFP, and then the traits are associated with a perk of some kind. So it's kind of like a bonus to having your NFT, and we thought it was just a really cool way to bring in not just brand and discovery into the mix, but being an NFT holder holder, you're constantly trying to figure out what this thing does for you. And so this was one way that we thought to creatively do so. And in that process, in the partnerships aspect, we partnered with a lot of different companies and brands. A lot of them were actually small businesses from our community. And one of them, I think, really touched my heart because the founders actually started their Web3 journey with our kickoff event. They were bracelet recipient holders. They really felt inspired by what we were doing and wanted to be a part of allowing some form of perk towards a particular trait. And they're also, two Black founders that I think are incredibly ambitious. Their brand is called Handsome. It's abbreviated HNDSM. I encourage everyone to go check them out. And some of our lucky BFFs who had a particular trait in the collection were able to receive a custom BFF luxury cuff from their company and collection. And just having those conversations, especially with the owners, and just how their journey coalesced into Web3 and they want to give back to their community. They want to be able to participate in some way, and how it all sort of just goes full circle. And for me, it's just part of the magic of what we do and how it all integrates and how we're also trying to innovate and put some spotlight on some incredible BFFs.
Right.
So I love what I do, and I know Riley has quite a few stories herself.
Yeah, and Kristen, you talk about it like it's easy, but there's so much intentionality that goes into finding the handsomes in the world, partnering with them, as opposed to, the 81% of Web3 participants who don't look anything like the people who are on this stage right now. So Riley, talk to us a little bit about how we listen to the community in embedding activations, perks, if you will, that represent the community and what they want to see from us.
Well, I think one of the activations recently that I led was a nearly 14-hour Twitter space for Pride. I brought together these amazing people in our community who know and love BFF and know how important representation is. I brought these people together to not only show BFF, but Web3 that LGBTQIA people exist, and we are important for the space, and our voices need to be heard. So I brought these people together, and
how many different organizations were represented, Riley?
We were speaking for 13 hours, so 13 different projects, different people shared their stories, their lived experiences with thousands of BFF members, community members, and it was really beautiful to see all that come to life in such a short amount of time that they trusted BFF to lift up their voices.
Yeah, and people talk about utility in this space, like there is no number or quantitative perk that you can put on the utility of just listening to the conversations that Riley was able to facilitate that day. It was really incredible. Sheila, take us home. As you think about, for these people in the audience, hopefully, I'm sure some of them are building Web3 brands as well. When it comes to DEIA, what are some fundamentals they should keep in mind, or what should we be leaving them with?
What I love about Web3, I always wanted to find out how we could have caregivers who were paid below minimum wage to actually own a part of care.com. Blockchain facilitates that. The Web3 community embraces that. So I end with authentic boldness. Just be you and do what you can to give back in the world and be bold. And you can do it all in Web3 because you've got a supportive community like BFF embracing you. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Check us out,
everyone.
mybff.com.